Hi, fourth graders. So today we're going to be doing our last text structure that we've been talking about, and today is cause and effect. It's probably the trickiest one to identify. It can be a little challenging, but I'm going to show you guys ways that you can identify it and also take notes for cause and effect. So let's get started. All right, so in our nonfiction unit, talking about text structures. Like I said, today we're talking about cause and effect. So our teaching point is that I can learn from my nonfiction texts by identifying the text structure, cause, and effect. And to take that a step further, not just identifying, but also thinking about why might somebody want to write a cause and effect piece of literature or text. So let's think about some common issues that we've had. It's almost kind of like problem solution, right? But there's no solutions here. It's really just this happened, this occurred, this thing. And then because that happened, there are effects of that. So there are things that happen because something occurred. So we're going to take a look at some signal words here. And these are words that can help you identify if the text is cause and effect. So you might see words like since, because, if, due to, as a result of, causes, leads to, consequently, therefore, then. These are words that start to signal that there might be some type of issue, and then there's a cause, and then it leads to things that happen. So you should be asking yourself, well, what happened? What's the cause? And why did it happen? What caused that thing to happen, and why, and what happened is the effects that occurred because of it. So remember that you're looking for the cause, not the solution. So with the problem and solution, it was, okay, here's the problem, and then this is how to solve it. With cause and effect, what's different is that you're seeing that something happened and you're trying to find, well, what caused that to happen? Okay, so let's try this out. I'm going to read this text out loud to you, and you can listen and follow along while I read it. And I want you to be thinking about what are some signal words that you hear that lets us know that this is a cause and effect text structure. And also thinking about how do we figure out what's the cause and what are the effects. And I noticed too that I actually have a couple things highlighted here that weren't supposed to be highlighted yet, but that's okay. So it says every year in the United States, up to 8 million unwanted dogs and cats enter animal shelters. Why are there so many unwanted pets? First, many people do not spay or neuter their pets. Also, people still buy their animals from breeders instead of adopting homeless animals. Sadly, some people give up on their pets and decide they are too much trouble to take care of. As a result, shelters are overcrowded, leaving young, energetic pets trapped in cages and lonely. Consequently, more unwanted pets are simply abandoned on the streets. So, this is kind of a sad one, but of course, because there's an issue, right? There's something that happens, and then there are effects of that. So, let's see what I highlighted. Okay, so a couple things here. First, I noted what were some signal words that let me know that this is a cause and effect piece. So as a result is a big one. Consequently is another one. I also added a couple things. I know that you first might be, you think, oh, that's sequencing. But in here, it's not because it's listing reasons of like why this is like an issue, why it's a problem. So I highlighted also what the causes and what the effects are. So here it says that many people don't spray or neuter their pets. And this is answering that question of why are there so many unwanted pets? And this is one cause. It's because people aren't spaying and neutering their pets. Another cause of there being a lot of unwanted pets is that people are still buying from breeders instead of adopting homeless animals. And another reason is that some people give up on their pets. So these are all causes for why that happens. So here are some things listed that are then the effects. So because of this, this is what happens. Millions of unwanted dogs and cats enter animal shelters that become overcrowded. And it also leaves energetic pets trapped in cages and lonely. And it also has pets abandoned on the streets. So these are all the effects of these causes. So this is what caused, these things to happen. So we're going to fill in this graphic organizer together to take notes on what those causes were and what those effects were because of those things happening. So let's go back here again. So the first one was that people do not spay and neuter their pets. So we would write that as one of the causes. Oh, and I also want to put here too, kind of the overarching, the whole event, the whole fact, like the main thing here, the main issue is that there's too many unwanted pets. So I wanted to take note of that as well. This is kind of like the overarching huge issue. Sometimes I like to kind of think about, well, what's the real issue here that we're dealing with? And then here are the listed causes. So one way is that people are not neutering their pets. Another thing people are doing is that they're still buying animals from a breeder. So that means that they're not adopting pets that are already born and need homes from, shelters. They're buying from breeders. So that's kind of a problem, huh? And another issue is that some people are just giving up on their pets altogether and they don't want them anymore. They're too much trouble or they're too much of a hassle and they don't want to deal with them anymore. So because of these things, these causes, what happens because of that? And a lot of that has to do with, the suffering of the animals, which is sad. So things that happen to them is that a lot of them end up in animal shelters. So we'll highlight that. And which causes, of course, too, that because there's so many there, they end up being overcrowded. So I'm going to also put overcrowded was one of the words they said. Okay. There we go. All right. So what's another thing we spotted here? All right. So some of the pets, they end up in cages and are lonely. So that's another effect of people deciding to not want their pets or to buy them from breeders. These are the issues here. And then the last one, that sometimes they even get abandoned on the streets. Poor pets. So again, when I took my notes, I didn't always do complete sentences, and that's okay. When you're taking notes, it's a quick jot. It doesn't have to be super long sentences. You want to just be to the point. Your notes should be quick. They should be easy to read and give you the gist of what you learned from reading that text. Okay, so causes, effects. This happened, so then this happened. These are the effects of these things occurring. And just keep in mind too, though, that sometimes there might only be one cause listed and maybe there's only one effect, or maybe there's more than 2 or 3 effects. Another way, it could be one effect and maybe 3 causes. So just keep in mind, just like with problem solution, that there is fluidity in how many causes and effects. There could be, just like there could be more than one problems or solutions, right? So with those ones, you could see different numbers of boxes and different organizers. So like in the one I gave you guys today for your assignment, it's going to be one box for cause, and then I think it was 3 boxes for effects. So it just depends on the structure of the text and what the text is teaching you or telling you about. Okay, so it's now your turn to practice taking notes for cause and effect. So you're going to read the assignment through read the text, and you're going to complete the graphic organizer listing what's the cause of the issue, and then what are the effects of that because that happened. And then you're going to continue reading your nonfiction books for your 30 minutes of independent reading time while keeping in mind thinking about that text structure, cause, and effect. Can you spot that in your nonfiction books? How you can identify that? Are there problems being presented and effects? So maybe like your weather, if you're reading a weather book, maybe it's saying, there's a problem with hurricanes, that they do a lot of damage, and the effects of the hurricane, what are some things that happen? So you could spot things like that in your book and think about, oh, wow, like I see why the author is teaching me cause and effect. It wants to show me how people and the world can be affected by this thing that occurs. So have fun with it. And I hope you guys enjoyed learning about the 5 different types of text structures.